Caminos del Inka is already my personal journey over years of trying to understand Latin American music. I realized that there's not such a thing as a Latin American music style. I was surrounded by this music since my childhood and looked back and looked around and then realized that we needed to focus more on regions, cultures, countries, languages, instruments, and Caminos del Inka helped me a great deal in using this immense network of roads that the Incas built that currently unite 6 countries, Peru, Bolivia, Ecuador, Colombia, Chile, and Argentina, and use this to center the understanding of music from its historical and geographical content. The historical divisions of Caminos del Inka, a musical journey, are basically 4. The native period or the pre-Hispanic period, the colonial times or the viceroyalty period, the Republican years that extend through the 20th century, and the contemporary times, the modern era, the 21st century. As per the native music of South America, we know that mainly woodwinds and percussion instruments were used. Among them, in the winds, the quenas, tarcas, zampoñas, toyos, pututos, and ocarinas. And in the percussion group, several types of bombos, tambores, quijadas, seeds, and other combinations of natural elements. The early colonial period was very important in describing what the Spaniards saw of the last remains of the Inca civilizations. Chroniclers such as Huamampoma, that in the early 1600s wrote about the indigenous people, how they lived, and also how they were mistreated by the Spaniards, are very important elements for us to know how this clash of cultures developed. Huamampoma also drew a lot of the things that he saw and a lot of the history that was told to him by simple drawings. In the late part of the 18th century, Baltasar Martínez y Compañón, Bishop of Trujillo, northern city of Peru, traveled the area extensively and later sent to the King of Spain several paintings and music that he wrote down. This is known as the Códice de Trujillo, in which we find over 1,000 sheets of paper that have very valuable information. We can not only read the music that this priest heard, since he used European notation, but we can also see how people played this music, because the instruments are clearly seen, and we can also see how they danced, at least from the aspect of the costumes. We certainly cannot see the motions, but we can see with real clarity how lively this music and dances were. The Republican years present a very interesting time in South America because of the influence of the American independence and before that the French Revolution. The new countries had ahead of them great challenges, not only politically but also culturally. They wanted to become their own, they wanted to have their own identity, and more important, they wanted to look into the future. The indigenous movement that developed at the end of the 19th century into the early 20th century led composers such as Daniel Alomía Robles to look back into oral folk traditions, and he composed a work called El Cóndor Pasa, which is a theater work. In this composition, he included a melody or a theme now known as El Cóndor Pasa, and Alomía Robles tells us that this melody, he borrowed it from collected materials, and it's supposed to have ancient Andean traditions. The Caminos del Inka programs present a total understanding of the music in South America by adding visual elements such as photography and video. In addition, some programs incorporate live performances of folk groups and folk dancers. Some of the repertoire drawn for these programs come from living composers such as Osvaldo Golijov and Esteban Bensecri from Argentina, Diego Luzuriaga from Ecuador, Jimmy Lopez and Enrique Turriaga and Gabriela Frank from Peru, Agustin Fernandez from Bolivia, among others. Some of the classic South American composers are Alberto Ginastera from Argentina, Enrique Soro from Chile, José María Vallarriestra from Peru, and many others that we will continue discovering. One key aspect of this project is publications. Some of the repertoire in South America has either never been published before or is out of print. Collecting music has taken years, and making it available for performers to study and learn this music and making it able to perform is of great importance, and it will become also an important legacy